What the Sport and Healthy Lifestyle team have done is to identify a niche need in Birmingham, the need to close the health inequality gap. They've understood the financial reality, they've met that challenge and are delivering programs and activities that we can evaluate and we know make a difference. We know are closing the health inequality gap. We know are increasing participation amongst the hardest to reach groups. And it enables somebody like me to consistently make an argument for investing and prioritising in sport and physical activity just at the time where we're having to make the hardest of decisions about reducing services and cutting services once and for all.
The leader of Birmingham City Council is warning tonight of the most severe cuts in its history. He's blamed a reduction in government funding amounting to £149 for every person in Birmingham.
A year ago, Birmingham's council leader warned the city was staring into the jaws of doom. Today, he said those jaws had widened.
For a lot of local authorities, it's a really challenging time and they're having to cut back on their leisure provision. And with that backdrop in Birmingham, however, the City Council and the team that we've been engaged with have been very proactive and innovative in their thinking about how they move this agenda on, how they continue to look at ways of growing participation, particularly around the healthy lifestyle agenda. So some of their latest thinking around their leisure review and how they're going to convert some of their centres into health and wellbeing centres is really quite innovative, and I think it's an example where lots of other local authorities can learn from going forwards. Over the period of time that we've been working together, we've seen very tangible results. The data that's coming out of the Active Parks project and the Be Active project speak for themselves in terms of the numbers of people that the City Council are getting from being sedentary and inactive to taking part in some kind of regular physical activity and sporting activity.
The team has been working with Sir Hayley to look at tackling inactivity, especially in relation to BME groups and women. But I think what's been great is we've started to look at how we address barriers within the community, from economic barriers to health, to actually where something is being delivered and how it's being delivered.
We began to develop a relationship with the sports team. We kind of began to talk about the projects we were thinking of and involved with, and one of them was the first LGBT sports and fitness space in the country, a dedicated space. So we talked to them about some of our aspirations for fitness activity, and they kind of talked to us about the Be Active scheme. So we became a partner in the Be Active scheme and developed yoga, Pilates, circuit training and some other physical activities out of our space.
Our women and some of our men have taken part in Tai Chi, in circuits, in learning how to ride a bike, and we've actually been challenged by the team to look at getting Asian women to run the half marathon next year, so that's something we're really working hard on. And some of our women have now wanted to become exercise instructors, bike leaders, run leaders, and that is because they've enjoyed what the service that's been delivered in their local area.
We work with the Ping team, bringing ping pong opportunities to the parks and open spaces of Birmingham, and it's been a really good experience working with them, having a positive relationship with volunteers and the local authority, working together to innovate, to make the most of limited resources and to make sure that the project gets to where it needs to be.
The Be Active project, the Active Parks projects are examples where other local authorities around the country are really interested in the work that's been undertaken in the city and the learning that's coming from that and how they might look to replicate that.
But they're a great team because they've listened to the kind of ideas we've had. Anything they've looked to apply for, they've involved us in the decision making at the start. They've tried to work with us to plan things for the future. They listen to what we actually want to deliver. They listen to the feedback we get from the women who want services delivered differently, and we deliver it at a local level. The best thing is that now, whenever we're doing something, we look at planning before money comes in, before the grant is actually applied for, and we try and make sure there's a plan to deliver the service in a way that the community actually want to access it.
I work with teams all over the world, and these are exceptional in the way that they work. I think where this team brings a difference to many of the public servants that I work with is that they do operate as a sports team. So they each work out what they're best at and position themselves to play the best game. They don't try and be all-rounders because there's no point in that. So when we look at the outcomes they've delivered, they're very clear about the parameters of the goals, you know, what are we here to do and what are the main measurements. and they each go out and hit those measurements and come back and celebrate it, so everyone knows what everybody else is doing and the buzz continues throughout the team.
They've always understood that they've needed to turn and face the money. They've always understood that they've had to articulate what they're delivering in more than just participation. It's about the things that it delivers for the city.
I think one of the main strengths of this team is that the whole of local government's going through a financial crisis at the moment. It really is a crisis. And they've been able to draw in millions, not just thousands, but millions of pounds to get people active in this city. And the way that they've done that is not just to look at the traditional local authority funding for sport and physical activity, but they've made a compelling case to our partners in health who can see the health benefits of getting people physically active. And this is all fantastic work led by a very creative and innovative team.